Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean and Graduate Dean here at the Jindal School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. And I am delighted that you are considering UT Dallas as your destination for graduate degree. We have got a great team of folks who are joining us for this particular webinar. And I want to tell you a little bit about these folks. We have Corina Cantua. She is our director of our advising operation here in the school. She has been here a long time. She knows every answer to every question I have ever asked her. And she is the #1 go-to person when we have webinars like this to answer really critical application questions for prospective students. We also have this wonderful entourage of folks that come to us from our International Students and Scholars Office. These people have the patience of I don't even know who, but they are able to handle a complete proliferation of questions that international students ask about coming to UT Dallas. We are so fortunate that in our graduate programs, we have fully employed students who come to us directly from work to engage in our master's and MBA programs. And then we have the great pleasure of having students from all over the world who choose UT Dallas as their destination for a graduate degree. And you can see along the bottom, Josephine Vitta, the director of the ISSO office. You can see Elizabeth Walker, an associate director, and also Sarah Koo. And these individuals are going to help answer really critical questions that you have as a potential incoming F1 student. So let's look at what we're going to cover today, because we know that you have oodles of great questions, and they tend to fall into one of these 5 bucket categories. And we know that for you, it's really important that you get precise answers. So we're going to address questions that we know students have asked 1,000 times around applications, and how do you fill them out, and how do you respond, and how does it work? So we're going to address that. We're going to look at scholarship questions. We know that going to graduate school is really important, and we want to make sure that you understand how to take advantage of those financial opportunities. We're going to look at specific program questions, kind of what are the differences between the master's in terms of program length and credit hours and the MBA, which is a lot longer. And then, of course, we're going to address our wonderful guests from around the world who are considering UT Dallas as their destination. And we're going to answer those all-important questions that you might have around F1 status and how we help all of our international students. And then, of course, all of you that are attending are the stars of our show, and we want to make sure that you don't leave here today without answers to your unique and specific questions. So we're going to cover all of that, and we're going to start at the beginning with those all-important application questions. So Corina, why don't you take it away and answer these questions?
So absolutely, Dr. Powell, I'm happy to be here to answer all the application questions we can. I know we're going to start with some of the more popular ones that Norma is going to go ahead and ask, and I'll fill in the answers as best we can.
Our first question is, what is the application deadline, and what is the difference between the early and regular application deadline?
Yes, so on the screen, you're going to see the regular application deadlines. And when a student applies by those deadlines, they're applying on time with no late fees. That's a perfectly fine deadline to follow. Now, if you see the link on that screen, if you were to follow that, it takes you to the main university's page. And on that page, you will find some additional deadlines that are labeled the early application deadlines. If you're ready to go, if everything is good to go, an applicant has all of their documents ready and they want to follow the early application deadlines, they're more than welcome to do so. The advantage of doing that is that you're going to get a decision earlier, right? If you submit an application early, then you're going to get an earlier decision. But please do not be discouraged. If you happen to miss that early application deadline, it's okay. We're still reviewing the application after that deadline. We'll still get you a decision as quickly as possible. So it's okay if you miss the early application deadline and you're just following the regular application deadline.
Our second question is, do you offer GMAT and GRE waivers, and how do you apply for a GMAT or GRE waiver?
Certainly. Yes, we actually do offer GMAT GRE waivers, and it's actually pretty simple. When you apply and you submit all of your application materials except for the GMAT GRE, we're actually going to send your application file over to the review committee, and they're going to determine whether or not a GMAT GRE waiver is possible. If it's possible, we're going to continue processing your application and you're going to get a final decision that's going to be official. You're good to go. Now, if the waiver is not possible, we're actually going to notify you of that, let you know that you did not actually qualify for the GMAT GRE waiver, and we're going to expect a GMAT GRE score in order to continue with the review of the application. I do want to note on here that Dr. Powell is going to touch on scholarships in a little bit, and if you're interested in that, you have to be mindful that a GMAT GRE score is required for that.
Do I need to submit official transcripts and test scores with my admissions application?
So the answer to that is no. For an application review, we can actually use unofficial documents. You only need to submit official documents after you're admitted and in preparation for registration in your first semester. We do need to have official documents for you to remain enrolled in your first semester's coursework. But for the review of the application, we can work with unofficial documents. I do have that little reminder, like in my previous answer, Dr. Powell is going to talk about scholarships, and you have to be mindful about that because you do need an official GMAT GRE for that scholarship consideration. Now, if you're not interested in scholarships, then you're more than welcome to just work with unofficial documents, period.
Do you offer a waiver for the English proficiency requirement?
Yes, we actually do. This is another item that's going to be reviewed automatically. As you see on the left-hand side of the screen, you're not required to submit an English proficiency exam if either one, your native country's primary language is English, or number two, if you earned a degree previously through instruction and examination in English. So either of those two scenarios, the English proficiency exam is going to be waived. Again, it's going to happen automatically, but we do have to have a complete application in order to do the review for that English proficiency as well.
Can I apply to more than one program?
Yes, you can. The application system actually allows you to submit multiple applications for the same or even different semesters, and it's going to automatically share information across those applications. So once you enter your biographical information or information on your educational background, this information is going to carry over the other applications for any of the graduate programs you apply to at UTD. So you don't have to resubmit that type of information again. So that makes it a pretty simple process if you are interested in applying to more than one program.
Our next question is, how long does it take to receive an admission decision after applying?
Okay, so once we have all of your application materials that are needed for review, so if you got a GMAT GRE waivers, everything except that. If you didn't, we need a GMAT GRE. So once everything is submitted, it's going to take us about 2 weeks to get it through the process, get it to a review committee, get a final decision to be able to give you that final decision on the application. So our goal is always 2 weeks. We do encounter some periods of time where there's a high influx of applications and a lot more that we're working with. But even within that, we are still pushing and we're still trying to get you a decision as quickly as possible to meet that, that goal of getting you a reply in 2 weeks.
Our next question is quite common. What is the profile of our average admitted student?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So this is going to depend on the program that you're looking into. So I would encourage students to visit our program pages that are on our School of Management website. And there you can take a look at the class profile for each of the programs that a student is interested in. They're going to look like what is on the screen right now. It's going to have a lot of good information, a good snapshot of what each program and how you as an applicant compare to that average admitted student.
Thank you so much, Corina. We are going to go back to Dr. Powell so that we can talk about scholarship questions.
You're welcome.
So our first scholarship question, Dr. Powell, is what types of scholarship are available as a new student and as a continuing student?
Wow, that's a great and very popular question, Norma. I think the first thing that I would tell every prospective student is to go and thoroughly read the scholarship webpage. Every single possible question that you can ask is answered on that page. So take time to plow through some of that information. It will save you the anxiety of trying to get a specific answer when those answers are readily available. So there are two types of scholarships for students. Generally, incoming brand new student scholarships that we call the Dean's Excellence Award, those are awarded in the fall and the spring, with the bulk of them being given in the fall semester. But they're given to incoming new graduate students. Please notice on our website that there are certain categories of students that aren't eligible to apply for those new incoming, because many of those scholarship programs have their own, or many of those degree programs have their own scholarships. So please be mindful of that on the website. So you have new Dean's Excellence Awards for new students, and you also have continuing student awards. Those only occur in the fall semester. So if a student starts with us one fall, they might be awarded an incoming new student scholarship, but the next year they would need to apply for a continuing student scholarship. The bulk of our scholarships award for only 2 consecutive semesters, and many of them will have an in-state tuition waiver.
Our next question is incredibly important as it has to do with the deadline. What is the deadline to apply for scholarship?
So the deadlines always stay the same. They never move. So for the spring semester, if you're going to be a new student in the spring, it's December 1. If you're going to be a new student in the fall, you need to apply by May 1. The May 1 deadline is also the same deadline for continuing students as well. So you really want to hold tight. If you apply on May 2nd, you will not be considered. So hold tight to those deadlines and make sure you apply on time.
Our next question has to do with something that Corina mentioned earlier involving the GMAT and GRE. Am I eligible to apply for a scholarship if my GMAT and GRE was waived?
Great question. So here is the answer. An official GMAT or GRE score must be submitted to be considered for a scholarship. So if you were admitted on a waiver of the GMAT or GRE, you can apply for a scholarship, but you are not going to be considered. There must be an official score in our system for the scholarship committee to consider an award. And you also need to be admitted. So a prospective applicant cannot be considered until they've been admitted to the Jindal school.
What does the scholarship committee look for when they're awarding scholarship?
So just like our application process is holistic, so is our scholarship committee process. And so let me explain what that means. From an admissions perspective, we look at everything that you submit. We look at your undergraduate transcripts. We look at graduate transcripts if you happen to have already gotten a graduate degree. We look at your essays, your letters of recommendation, your resume, your narrative or statement of purpose. So all of that is evaluated in an admission decision. It is also re-evaluated along with a GMAT or GRE score for a scholarship award. So it is a holistic process looking at everything. So you want to do a really good job in the applying process so that what moves on to the scholarship committee is also really good. But don't forget, you need to submit an official GMAT or GRE score.
When will I find out if I was awarded a scholarship?
So generally speaking, we have a rolling process for making scholarship awards, which to some students means we make that in a series of batches, but it depends upon the time of the year. In the fall, when we're making decisions about scholarship for spring, we wait till really late in the fall and we don't make a bunch of batch decisions. If it is somebody who's applying, and that's for people that are going into spring. If you're applying for a scholarship in the fall, we generally start making awards in late February and we'll continue to make on a rolling basis until the committee basically runs out of money to award. Now, it is always to your advantage to apply early because, you know, early bird gets the worm and you want to be considered as soon as possible. But generally speaking, we don't make awards for spring until really late in the fall, and we don't make awards in the fall. We make those just periodically throughout the spring.
Am I eligible for in-state tuition if I am awarded scholarship?
So a great many of our scholarships include an in-state tuition waiver, meaning that your tuition would just basically go in partnership with what an in-state student at the state of Texas would pay. So we're converting an out-of-state rate to an in-state rate or an out-of-residency rate to an in-state rate. Basically, that means you save about half of the tuition. But remember, scholarships are awarded for 2 consecutive semesters. So that means a tuition waiver for fall, followed by a tuition waiver for spring. If you're awarded a spring scholarship, then that is a tuition waiver for spring and a tuition waiver for summer. Not every award has a tuition waiver, but you would know it by the award letter in which you receive.
Our next section has to do with some very common program questions that we receive. The first one being, how many credit hours does the program take to complete?
So that is a really great question. And the example on the screen is specifically about a master's degree program. And the example is a business analytics degree. So all of our master's degree programs here in the Jindal School are 36 credit hours, but you will enroll in 37 because you are required to take a program prerequisite in your first semester here. And that program prerequisite is professional development, MAS 6102. It's a 1 credit hour class that we require of all of our students coming in. So an individual obtaining a master's degree is going to take 36 plus 1, 37 credit hours in order to graduate. But if you're coming into an MBA degree, that is a 53 credit hour program. So that's going to take longer to complete. And there are not any program prerequisites for the MBA. So you can come in and you're, of course, also able to transfer in credit hours. The master's transfers in 9, the MBA you can transfer in 12, but you have to go through a review process for any of those courses to potentially transfer. Now, keep in mind that as you're looking at which graduate program to apply to, you need to visit that program webpage, because on that program webpage, we are going to break that curriculum down for you. We're going to break down what is core class requirements for that master's or MBA, and we're going to break down what the electives are and whether or not that master's and MBA have potential concentrations that you can choose. So this is the kind of thing that you want to study early. You don't want to come in and make a decision at the last moment if you're going to go into the supply chain program. You want to have studied the potential concentrations in the supply chain program based upon the kind of job you want to get when you graduate. So you want to spend ample time on our program web pages, whether or not it's an MS or whether it's the MBA. Go and click on what will take you to the curriculum. Look at the core classes that are required, then look at the concentrations you can take and the elective options you have in each concentration, and base that upon what it is you want to do when you've completed the degree. You want to graduate with the knowledge that will make you qualified for that position that you're applying for. You don't want to waste any of those precious semesters taking classes that really aren't going to be relevant to the career that you're looking for post completion of the degree.
Our next question is, what is the estimated cost for the entire program?
So that is a complicated question, Norma, and I'm going to do my best to try and answer that. So we're at a university where the more credit hours you take in a semester, the less you pay per credit hour. Now, keep in mind that full-time graduate work is 9 credit hours. When you're an undergraduate, full-time is 12 or 14 or 15, depending upon what university you go to. But typically, 9 credit hours is full-time coursework. So you don't want to come in here and think, oh, well, Dr. Powell said the more credit hours I take, the less cost per credit hour. So I'm going to complete it in 2 long semesters and take 18 credit hours my first semester. No, that is not a good decision, because taking 18 credit hours of graduate class will kill you. So what you want to do is think about how you're going to go through the program and how many hours you're going to take each semester. Now, there's a handy dandy cost of attendance calculator that you can get to, and you can see how to get there by the link on the screen. You can put in that you're graduate, you can put in that you're out of state or in state, you can put in what school you're going to and the number of credit hours, and it will give you an estimate of your tuition. But keep in mind that, you know, there's tuition, there's supplemental tuition expenses, and then we also have additional fees for things like online classes that you will take, like synchronous and asynchronous classes. So those have fees. So this is just an estimate, but it's a good way to help you think about what the approximate cost will be as you move through either a 36 credit hour master's degree or 53 credit hour MBA.
Our next question is, who should I contact if I have questions about the degree curriculum or career outlook for the program I am interested in?
So I really love this question. And the most important part of the answer to this question is bringing up the program director. As a prospect to a graduate degree program here at the Jindal School, you have probably already received emails from your designated program director. They are absolutely the best resource for you to contact or even attend their webinars. They have specific webinars about business analytics and supply chain and healthcare and innovation and entrepreneurship and MBA, where you can hear them talk about, here are the core courses, here's what we cover, here are the concentrations, here are the kind of jobs that you can get, here's what the class profile looks like. And that program director is your point of contact for the entire time that you're here in the program. So they can help you with everything from choosing your elective courses to your concentration to, oh my gosh, I'm really struggling in this class. You know, what do I do? They can talk to you about careers and career options. They are your first line of defense in answering all of those kinds of questions. And you see those examples on the right side of your screen. If you look to the left side of your screen, you'll see the great thing that Corina and her team can do for you. We have a great advising operation, a whole team of experts that help students with more about the mechanics of being a student. You know, understanding a degree plan. What are the courses that are required? How do you register for classes? How do you add? How do you drop? How do you change your degree program? How do you apply for graduation? So that's what the advising office does. But as a prospective student, whether it's an MS or an MBA, you will want to reach out to those program directors. Most of our program directors hold weekly or bi-weekly webinars where they can answer tons of information, questions about you know, the degree plan and what the careers are. And oftentimes they will bring current students and alumni to those webinar sessions to really help prospective students understand and appreciate the return on the investment in coming to the Jindal School.
What type of career support does JSOM offer?
So I love this slide. I just love this graphic because I think that this is really, there are a couple of things that really distinguish the Jindal School from other schools that you might be looking at and considering. And so one of those distinguishing differences is around our career management support. We have our own dedicated career management team here in the Jindal School called the CMC, the Career Management Center, and they do all of the things that you see on the screen. But we make it even easier than just walking into a center and saying, please help me with an internship or please help me with networking. We require all of our master's students to take a professional development class where in your very first semester, we get your resume ready for distribution, organized in the way that our employers expect to see your resume. We have already taught you how to network. We have already introduced you to the process for securing an internship. We have already walked you specifically through how to frame your cover letter, how to connect with the career management folks and attend workshops and career fairs and employer engagements. So that's one resource within the school. The other resource within the school around career is your actual program. You will see that your program directors are holding events where they are bringing in awesome panels of alumni who will talk about how they landed their internship or how they landed their H-1B job or their full-time position, and will share with prospective students and current students how they made it happen and how they can make it happen as well. So that's one distinguishing feature about the Jindal School that is really different than all of the other graduate business schools in America. The other side of career is around our student organizations. We have over 70 student organizations here. And really the bulk of those organizations are focused exclusively on helping a student understand the career that they're going into and networking with employers and alumni and people that can help them advance their career goals. And they help host case competitions and employer competitions so that we can give students the best advantage. There isn't a graduate school in America that has 70 plus student organizations to help students on the career side. So keep in mind those two distinguishing features, but all of the resources that you see on the screen, they're here and ready for you to take advantage of as a student at UT Dallas.
Thank you, Dr. Powell. Now we are going to go over to Elizabeth Walker, who will be answering some of our questions that have to do with international student considerations.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's exciting to have you here as prospective UT Dallas students.
Our first question that we get a lot from our eager students is, how do I contact ISSO?
That is a great question. We have many different ways for students to receive advising services through the ISSO. We have something called live chat, where you can type your answer and get an immediate response from an advisor. If you need more time to ask your questions, you can schedule a virtual appointment through Microsoft Teams. We do offer face-to-face appointments also if you happen to be in the area. And we have something called Ask an Advisor through iComment, where you can submit a question and get a response from an advisor in a day or two.
Our next question is, what is the iComment portal that you just mentioned?
So once a student has been admitted to UT Dallas, they have access to iComment. And iComment is where you would submit your request for an I-20 if you are an international student. You would log into iComment to upload the required documents for an I-20, which would be the financial affidavit form, passport, and proof of financial support.
We have a lot of students who are very eager to get started on the I-20 process after they're admitted. So how do they apply for their I-20?
So to become an F1 student, the student needs to apply for the I-20 and then apply for an F1 visa. First, they need to be admitted to a degree seeking program at UT Dallas, and then submit to the ISSO through iComment a copy of their passport, which is valid for at least 6 months into the future. A copy of the UT Dallas financial affidavit completed by the student, and sufficient funding. And if you're not sure what is sufficient funding, you may visit our website, which talks about the financial requirements and the type of acceptable financial documents.
These next questions have to do with the visa. So the first one is, how do I prepare for a visa appointment?
So preparing for the F1 visa appointment is really important. First, you need the required documents to apply for the visa, which would be the valid passport, the initial I-20, the proof of financial support, the proof of admission to UT Dallas, and very importantly, your proof of ties to your home country.
What are some common mistakes or missteps that international students sometimes make when they're applying for their I-20 or when they have their visa appointment?
So when applying for their I-20, students sometimes submit financial documents that were issued more than 12 months in the past, or that are not in English, or that are financial documents that we are not able to accept. So if a student is unsure of what type of financial documents we can accept, always referring to our website is great. For the visa appointment, so when the student has their visa appointment, the visa officer wants to know about their intent. Their intent should be to come to UT Dallas and to get a degree in a field that is going to tie directly back to their career goals in their home country. If the student indicates that their goals are to have a career in the US after they get their degree here, they may not be granted the F1 visa because the F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa.
And what advice do you have for somebody whose visa is denied?
So if a student's F1 visa is unfortunately denied, the visa officer should give them a slip of paper that indicates the exact reason for their denial. Okay. The student can then schedule a subsequent visa appointment with the understanding that they have to have some new information for the visa officer to consider, either something that they say or something that they present. Because if they present exactly what they did the previous time, they'll get the same decision.
Our next question has to do with on-campus employment. As an international student, and am I eligible for on-campus jobs?
Yes, F1 students, once they've got their visa and their I-20, can enter the United States up to 30 days before their semester start date, their program start date at UT Dallas, and can work on campus up to 30 days before the semester start date. F1 students can work in any job on campus that provides direct services to students, and they don't need any special authorization from the ISSO. They are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week during a long semester and full-time during school breaks.
When will I be eligible for CPT?
So lots of F1 students are interested in CPT. This is off-campus paid internships related to a student's major. Students are eligible for CPT after they have completed an academic year in F1 status, which would be 2 long semesters. They also have to be in good academic standing and meet all requirements of the JSOM Career Management Center prior to being eligible for approval from the ISSO.
Thank you so much, Corina. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I think we're going to have a lot of additional questions here that we're going to answer that the students have in addition to what we have covered. We are a very student-centered kind of school and university, and we care very much about your questions, and we give you a lot of venues in which to ask them. So those program directors, which you've seen emails from, they are a great resource. You can always email jindal@utdallas.edu if there are questions that we don't answer here today. And we have something called the JSOM question desk, and you can see a link on your screen, and they can also answer questions. But I encourage all of you to be really proactive. You know, you have to do a lot of planning if you're going to come to graduate school. So take the time to read websites, take the time to read important emails, take time to read the application process. Really, most of the answers that you need are readily available on the website. So take a quick look there. Just do us a favor and don't email the same question to about 20 people. That will make it a little bit challenging for you when you get all of those same answers back in your email box. So I guess, Norma, you know, let's move on to questions that students might have, and let's see what they've come up with that we didn't think about in advance.
Alrighty, Dr. Powell, we have a lot of great questions that we've received. The first one is actually having to do with the scholarship application. And we have a few students who have already applied for scholarship, and they're wondering about the part 1 and part 2. Do they have to complete both parts, and what's that all about? So I was hoping you could cover that.
Well, thank you, Norma. I appreciate that question. Yes, there are 2 parts that you need to complete. So when you go to the scholarship webpage and you complete the scholarship application, which you can access from the scholarship webpage, you complete it and you submit it. Then you will get a confirmation email, and in that confirmation email, there will be another link to the second part that you need to also complete. The scholarship committee will not consider you unless you've completed both parts and you have been admitted and you have submitted an official GMAT or GRE score.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and bring Josephine Vitta, our director of the ISSO, onto the screen because I have a couple questions from international students. The first one is, we have a few students who have already been admitted for fall and they're excited to attend, but they're wondering, are they going to be able to take online classes as part of their enrollment?
So first, congratulations on getting admitted. I know that's a very big hurdle and you should be very proud of your academic accomplishments so far. In regards to the plan of study, now that the COVID pandemic situation is not at the point where we're making accommodations in the same way that we did a couple of years ago, we have reverted back to the normal rules for F1 students. That means for you to get a visa to enter the United States, there needs to be a purpose for you to come to the United States, and that is going to be to attend classes in person. You'll be allowed one hybrid or online class per semester, but the rest of the classes will need to be in person. If the way you want to look at it is, you need to give the visa officer a reason for you to come to the United States. If you're taking online classes fully, you can remain in your home country and do so.
Thank you. And then I have another question for you before we go back to Dr. Powell. This person has also been admitted for fall 2023, and they're wondering when they should be applying for the I-20. Should they wait until after they receive a scholarship decision, or what should that look like?
So let's work our way backwards. The earliest you can apply for a visa is going to be April. For the year that you're going to be arriving for the fall. You want to be able to have everything you need to be able to get a visa appointment. And one of the most important things you need is the I-20 and the I-20 number. So it's always best to apply for the I-20 as soon as possible. If you want to make any edits to the financial documents to add in any scholarships that you get later, you can absolutely do that. And that will not block or hinder or change the trajectory of your visa process. But if you don't have the I-20, you can't move on to the next step of scheduling the visa appointment. So we recommend doing it as soon as possible.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Powell back onto the screen because this person has asked about scholarship. They're wondering how much scholarship is typically offered on average, and also are new incoming students eligible for graduate assistantships?
Oh, both of those are great questions, Norma. So new students are basically applying for an incoming Dean's Excellence Scholarship Award. And what that gives a student is a $1,000 amount, which is given to them in their first semester. And then it also gives them 2 semesters of a tuition waiver scholarship. So that means your tuition is about half of what an out of residency individual would pay. So that's a really lucrative scholarship. So that is generally how it works for incoming new students. Continuing students can also apply for donor awards. And again, many of those scholarships for continuing students offer waivers as well, but not every scholarship offers waivers. But for our incoming students, they do offer tuition waivers that convert you to an in-state rate. Now, the question of whether or not you can get a teaching assistantship, we do not offer teaching assistantships to brand new students. You have to have been here for a semester. Our faculty are looking for people that have performed very well in a certain subset of courses, who have a certain background of experience, who are going to be really good TAs. They want to hire the best TAs that they can for those positions. So you will be able to apply, but not coming in as a brand new student.
Perfect. Our next question has to do with admissions. What type of experiences on your resume would be most relevant to the admissions committee? Do you need work experience in order to be admitted to our programs?
So work experience is not a requirement, but I would say the majority of our students do have work experience. You've got everybody in this program. The diversity of the profile of working experience is very vast. You will have people in a master's degree program that have no work experience. Those are probably very strong undergraduate students that are highly competitive, very high merit that we've admitted, up to people that are fully employed who have, I don't know, 20 years of work experience. That's one of the great benefits of our particular program. So typically when we're evaluating an applicant for admission and we're looking at the resume and we're looking at the narrative, or what you might call statement of purpose, we're looking to see how that degree is going to achieve that statement of purpose on getting the degree. So generally speaking, if your work experience complements that, that can be an advantage for you. But that's not always the case, because business school is often used, or getting a business degree is often used to kind of change the trajectory of maybe where you were to where you want to go. So we're looking for strong candidates who can be successful in graduate school. And having any work experiences is always an asset coming into a business graduate education, but it is not an absolute, as we do admit people without any work experience as well.
We have a student who asked about the size of our programs. We have very large business analytics programs, and so they're worried that they might get lost in the mix with such a large program. So I was hoping you could talk about the advantages of being in a large program.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad that somebody asked this question. So this is often a concern for international students who are choosing a cohort program. They wanted to come into a program that has 75 total students, and they feel like they'll know their classmates really well. They'll get a lot of individual attention. But when you are in a small program, you're actually at a disadvantage, because when you are in a big program, it means that employers want to come here because they can hire lots and lots of students without having to go to a ton of little tiny schools. So we have employers that will come here that might hire 20 of our students at one time. So that is a huge advantage. So don't think so much about the size of the number of students that are being admitted. Think about the size of the students that are in your class. Each class has generally 75 students in every class. And the really great thing about coming to a really big program like ours is if you're in analytics or you're in ITM or supply chain or management science, we have the greatest number of elective offerings. So you can literally tailor your graduate degree experience to exactly what you want to do. When you go to a small program, you're going to have very constrained electives. In fact, you may not have a lot of choice at all. If you go in and look at our degree program web pages, you will see that each of our master's programs have a whole slew of tracks that you can choose from, and you're going to have the options for those courses to complete those tracks. That's going to make you specifically more qualified for positions and internships in that area. So coming to a big program is a huge advantage. The other advantage that you have when you go to a big graduate school like ours is we have 70 plus, I think 75 right now, very robust student organizations. These organizations are interacting with employers and alumni constantly. They are reaching back. These alumni want to reach back and tap more of these great students to bring into these organizations. And when you've got a big program, you got lots of alumni, and they want to come back and they want to pay it forward to the students behind them. So don't think of big as a disadvantage. Think of big as a huge advantage. And it's one of the things that our students tell us that they love about being here is if they got to get the graduate degree program that they wanted, tailored to their needs, tailored to the career and future that they want for their own business portfolio.
So this person is interested in the MS Business Analytics, and they noticed that in the degree, an internship is mandatory. And so they were kind of wondering how that works, if we could explain the process. So what I think they might be asking is, are internships assigned, or how do they go about that?
Yeah, internships are not assigned. Earlier in the presentation, I talked about our professional development class, MAS 102. It is a course that you take in your very first semester. We get your resume ready. We teach you how to interview American style. We teach you how to network. And we teach you how to go and pursue those jobs and to interact with alumni and create those relationships to get jobs. So our students are hugely successful at obtaining those internships. But for those students that for some reason maybe can't because of some other situation that limits them, they're also able to take a substitute class, which was what we call a capstone class, which is a real business scenario where they're working on a real business issue in lieu of the internship. So even if you don't get an internship, you can still fulfill that requirement. But I mean, it is so exciting to see how many of our students get internships. Just go and look at our website. Look at our internship stories website, and you'll see just hundreds of entries of students of where they've worked and the kind of things that they've done in their internships.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Josephine back onto the screen because I have a question for Josephine. What is the typical turnaround time after they apply for an I-20 for receiving it? And I know we were closed during the break, so I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so we normally try to get those turned around, or at least have that first review and let you know if there's any missing information within about 2 or 3 days. You're going to want to make sure you're checking your UTD email or your iComment portal to see if you've got any message about the I-20. A lot of times people will also fail to notice that the I-20 may actually have been sent to them. It's electronic now, and it's an attachment to your email. So some students will say they haven't received it, but in fact, it's an attachment to the email. But usually within 2 or 3 days. Now, we do have a bit of a backlog because we've been closed, as Norma mentioned. And so we are working through those, and we hope we should be able to clear most of those out by early next week, so that we can get those to you. We know that it is a race for the visa slots, and so we want to turn those around as quickly as possible.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Powell back because we have somebody who has asked, what is the difference between the Cohort and the Flex program? Is it possible to change the program from Cohort to Flex and vice versa?
Wow, great question. So the Cohort program is just a smaller variation of the Flex program. That's where a student really wants a more personalized experience where they kind of go through the program with a single set of students. So that's the Cohort option, which means that you only have the choice of a couple of tracks versus a lot of tracks that you would find in the Flex program. Yes, we do have students that move between them, but it is more likely that they don't. They kind of pick the delivery method that works best for them, and they stick with it. But we do have a few that switch from Cohort to Flex periodically.
What is the deadline for them to accept their admission?
So we don't have an official deadline to accept like many schools do, because we don't require a seat fee of our students that are admitted either, at least not in our master's programs. So, but you want to accept your admission quickly. You want to get your I-20. You want to get that visa appointment if you are an international student. You want to be able to, as quickly as you can, clear those hurdles so that you can enroll in classes and get the selection of courses that you want. So you want to move quickly. You don't want to sit back on your laurels and miss out on an opportunity to come to the Jindal School. So all of our degree programs, it doesn't matter whether it's analytics, marketing, accounting, finance, innovation, the MBA program, they are always conducting live chats, live webinars. You can engage with a program director almost at any time you want to review your profile. They'll gladly introduce you to student ambassadors, current students in the program. They'll connect you with alumni in the program. You want to make your decision early. You don't want to wait until the bitter end and then try to tackle getting a visa appointment and getting classes and all of those things at the very last minute. That causes a lot of undue stress.
Perfect, thank you. So this question is actually a three-parter, and I'm happy to repeat any parts as you answer it. The first, it says, do we need to pay for the prerequisite courses like professional development? If we get a full-time internship, will it count as a 3-credit course? And do they have to pay for those 3 credits? In the ITM course curriculum, it is mentioned that we can take 2 3-credit courses for free, but I think they mean free electives. Will these credits count towards the 36 credits, or are they optional extra credits?
You know what I love about all 3 of those questions, Norma, is that this student, whoever's asking these questions, has gotten on and is doing their research and is reading what we have on our website and in our catalog. So kudos to you. That is awesome that you're looking at these things very carefully. So let's tackle the first question. So every credit that you take, you pay tuition on. So that includes a professional development class. You will pay for a credit hour for that class. That also includes internships. Now, the question was, do you take an internship for 3 credits? You can take an internship. It's a variable course. You can take it for 1 credit. You can take it for 2 credits, or you can take it for 3 credits. We have a lot of students who take 3 1-credit hour internships because they want as many internships as they can get while they are here, as many opportunities to, you know, test out different types of employers, have that chance potentially if you're an international student for an H-1B visa. So majority of our students, if they when they do internships, they'll do them for 1 credit hour each. And yes, you do pay tuition for that. And then with regard to the last question, which was about the free electives, a free elective doesn't mean that you don't pay tuition. You pay tuition for every credit at every school that you go to. A free elective just means that we don't tell you what to take. You get to freely choose those classes that you take. So I hope, Norma, I answered all 3 of those.
Yes, you did. Great memory. I'm going to go ahead and bring Corina onto this screen because we have a question about official documents. When do students need to submit their official transcripts, GRE scores, English proficiency scores? Can they bring those official documents with them when they start school, or should they send it prior?
Sure, so they can bring them with them. But our recommendation, my recommendation specifically is for them, if possible, to do it ahead of time. There's going to be a lot of things that they're going to be taking care of at the beginning of the semester. It may be a little bit overwhelming, getting accustomed to everything. So I think it's always best if you can go ahead and submit those official documents that we will need for your file when you're ready ahead of time. That way it is something that you can just cross off your checklist. You don't have to worry about it. You've already sent it in. Then you can concentrate on everything else. So I would just strongly encourage you to go ahead and submit them as soon as you can once you have an admission decision and you're planning to join us.
Perfect, thank you. And then the only caveat that I'll say to that is to make sure to get your official GMAT and GRE scores in by the May 1 scholarship application deadline. Is that right, Dr. Powell?
That is absolutely right. I think that is one of the most disappointing things for students is that they fail to submit an official score and the committee cannot consider a scholarship candidate without an official score in the system.
Perfect. Well, it looks like we've answered everybody's questions. I do just want to mention that we will be sending out the recording along with the PowerPoint that has all those valuable links to share. And I want to give you some time for some closing remarks.
Well, thank you, Norma, and thank you to all of our panelists for being here today. I really am so grateful for the wonderful partnership that we have with the ISSO, the International Students and Scholars Office. They are huge champions of our students and do such a great job. So thank you to Josephine and Elizabeth and Sarah for all that they do for our students. Corina and her team, our advising office is not one person, it's a whole entourage of people that Corina leads, and we take incredibly good care of our students before they arrive and after they arrive to make sure that they tackle all the courses that they need in order to earn the degrees. And then certainly our graduate programs office with Norma, who's the magic behind all of our webinars. So thank you to all of you guys for helping make our webinar possible today. Please know that the Jindal School is a really unique place. We look at our exit surveys that students complete when they graduate from the program. And one of the things that they tell us all the time is that people here, whether they're faculty or whether they're staff, they care about the individual success of every student. And one might not think that that's the case when you go to a big school, but it gives me great pleasure to walk in the hallways and hear from students that I met on webinars like this, or to walk down the hallway and see students going to classes and seeing how they're engaging with their faculty and with each other. This is a really remarkable place, and we thank you for considering the Jindal School as your graduate school destination. I hope you'll be in touch. If we can help in any way, don't hesitate to send us an email.